My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I am the host of the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, a show right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we take a deep look at individual issues and stories that are going on in the wrestling world. Each episode is about a different topic, and we take a thorough and educated look at things ranging from current booking trends to breakdowns on individual performers and angles to investigations into different fan cultures across the industry. In addition, we keep a close eye on the wrestling media, and as a professional journalist, I bring a unique perspective to how current issues in wrestling are being covered and discussed through the wrestling media. We have a revolving series of guests from across wrestling punditry joining us on each episode, and we hope that you make the choice to give us a listen on wherever you get your podcast from.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A-game. A-man, no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A-game, better bring your A-game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A-game. A-man, no rain.
All right, guys, we are back. Sorry about that. I had some audio difficulties. Something's going on with my microphone, with my external microphone. I'm going to get this out of the screen here so nobody thinks I'm actually talking into it. So talking into the computer mic, hopefully it doesn't sound too bad, but we're gonna have a fun show for everybody. So thanks everybody for pointing out that my microphone was crap, but hopefully we have a good rest of the show. This isn't going to be a super long one. We're trying to get out of here by 11 p.m. Eastern time. And hopefully the football game's still going on by then, right? It kicked off like right at 8, didn't it?
No, like my time, it kicked off at 6:45, so it would have been at like 7:45 your time.
Okay, cool. I kicked it on at 8, and it was already like in progress, so I didn't know what time it actually came on. I was taking care of the kids at that point, but. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off the show with let's talk Trey Miguel. So
super weird situation with him.
Yeah, man. So him and the Rascals, so it'd be Desmond Xavier, Zachary Wentz, Myron Reed, and Trey Miguel all signed with AEW, and it was announced like earlier in the week, last week, ahead of TNA's Thursday Night Impact. So like. Tony Khan got like all 4 guys and wanted to make sure to make the announcement before TNA's big night, which makes sense. Like they're competitors now. Yeah. TNA is on a big network, so you got to compete with them. And so you're going to treat them as if they're competition. And that's kind of exactly what they did. And all of a sudden, like Trey Miguel's not there. So they had Collision on Saturday. And they had the debut of the Rascals, not in a match, but in a backstage vignette. And it was just the 3 guys without Trey Miguel. And so everybody's like wondering what the hell happened. Well, word came out today. Fightful Select reported that Trey Miguel, he did sign with everybody, but he has actually since been released by AEW. Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez reported that that the decision came from above Tony Khan. And people were wondering, like, who is above Tony Khan in that pecking order, in that hierarchy in AEW? Well, it would be the people that are funding the entire company, the entire operation, right. The lifeblood of the company. That would be WBD. Without WBD, there is no AEW. Like they're a dead promotion essentially. So they're living off of this TV money. So somebody from WBD. Now that has not been reported. But I think that it's okay to speculate
Yeah.
that was the case.
I thought it might be
WBD took a
Shad
kibosh
Khan.
on it.
Yeah, I thought it might be Shad Khan, but WBD does make more sense.
Yeah, Shad Khan doesn't know who Trey Miguel is.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you said, who's funding the company? Shad Khan.
Well, not Shad Khan funded the company originally, but now
Yeah.
it's like Tony and WBD.
Yeah, and I think part of WBD going through the acquisition talks, like they're just wanting to be super safe right now with everything, whether it be, being acquired by Netflix or being acquired by Paramount, wherever they end up going. Usually during those times, you see them try to minimize risk of any form. So that it just makes perfect sense that it would be coming from WBD.
Yeah, so last week, whenever it was reported that the Rascals were out of TNA, that their contracts had expired, I said that I wouldn't be shocked if they all signed with AEW, but I got the feeling that old tweets from Trey Miguel and an old tweet from Zachary Wentz would rear their ugly head. They would rise to the surface.
Yeah,
and it would make trouble for AEW. And that has not happened with Wentz because Wentz was actually super public. Like everybody knew about it. He got fired from WWE because
and his wasn't even
post thing. But with
yeah,
Trey
his
Miguel,
wasn't even
that
from
happened. That happened whenever he was working for Impact. It happened when he's on the Indies. Nobody really knew about that.
Yeah.
And now that he's with a bigger company, it reached the surface again. And it sucks for him. He's apologized for it several times, but it's coming back to bite him.
Yeah, and the Zach Wentz thing, remember, that wasn't even from, like, it wasn't something that he put out there.
No.
It was like an ex-girlfriend who had taken messages and put out there.
It was Kimberly.
Yeah. And then for him, he got fired from WWE, went back to TNA, and then WWE even brought him back for a couple of shows. So he kind of already had that redemption part of it. I'm not a fan. Like, do your research before the signing. You've got people on the roster who have said and done much worse already, like,
or
where do you draw the line?
Accused of much worse for sure.
Yeah. Where do you draw the line and let people grow from their mistakes? This was what, 7 years ago?
2019, 2020 timeframe. Yeah.
Yeah. And, he has been a good person since then. He's had no incidents since then. He's had nobody speak out against him on being a bad person since then. Let people grow from their mistakes. And he clearly seems to have done so. And I think he should be in AEW where he wants to be, where the company wanted him to be. I'm not a fan of the way, if it was Warner Brothers, I'm not a fan of the way they handled it.
Yeah. And Warner Brothers, they got some really, they've made some movies with some pretty awful people too, right? And just decided to go with it. So for them to crush this guy, who's I know he's like 30 years old, he might be 31, but he's still a relatively young guy trying to make a name for himself, and they just struck him down immediately without giving him an opportunity. I don't even know that they called him and asked him what happened here and got this side of the story. They just oh, hey, this was it. This was an article. He said these things, and that must be who he is for the rest of his life.
Right. Yeah, they had no issue pumping out more Harry Potter movies after J.K. Rowling went on her tirade.
Yeah.
But, I guess if Trey Miguel was set to make a couple $100 million for the company, they probably would be okay with it.
Yeah. Who's that really crazy guy that does The Flash? What's his name?
The actor?
Yeah.
Oh, man, was it Zachary Levi?
So somebody, one of those DC superhero movies.
Yeah, it wasn't The Flash. It was Shazam.
Shazam, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's Zachary Levi.
Okay.
Yeah, which they did really good on the first movie, and then it crashed and burned on the second movie.
No,
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, Ezra Miller. He's the psycho.
Yeah. They've got multiple of them.
Yeah, this Shazam guy. I don't think that guy's a bad guy. I think it's Ezra Miller.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So, and they took a big loss on The Flash. Like, that movie flopped really hard, and I think they're finally done with them after that. At that point, they were so financially invested in them. I think they would have taken such a huge loss kicking Ezra Miller out that they had no choice but to put that movie out there and try to make some of their money back. they took Trey Miguel out before they had anything financially invested in him.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really do think a big part of this is the merger talks with Netflix. They want no potential negative PR at all.
Yeah.
Corporate suits liked everything during corporate mergers is just so very strict that they're going to try to take out any potential. And Miguel is such a small speck in that,
Yeah.
but it is just the potential of it. They don't want to have to deal with those questions.
Yeah, but it's such a small thing, and
Mm-hmm.
and this is not the first time WBDs did this, because they did this to Jay Briscoe. They wouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
let AEW have a tribute show to Jay Briscoe after he died. It took some fighting and clawing by Tony Khan to be able to get it a week later.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm just done with these freaking corporate suits.
Yeah.
These dumbasses. I'm just like, if they're worried that you're going to cost them a single dollar because of your past behavior, they're going to try to get rid of you. But they don't care as long as they can make money off of you.
Right.
And Trey Miguel is not a big name star, so he's an easy guy to get rid of.
Yeah, and I do wonder if Miguel ends up going back to TNA, if it's on like a short-term deal, which most of TNA contracts are.
Yeah.
But I do think Tony Khan is going to try to make this right by him in the long run. I think he would like to have him there. And if there's an opportunity for him to continue to work on that, I think he will do it.
Yeah, I hope so, right? I mean, it seems like that would be the right thing to do. Like what they did with the Briscoes is that instead of putting them on AEW TV, they put him on Ring of Honor.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they could do that with Trey Miguel, but it seemed like they just cut the guy flat out, cut him.
Yeah.
So that's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, this is entirely speculation on my part, but maybe Trey, he said he's taking a step away from wrestling. Maybe he's going to go, do some of those sensitivity classes or whatever that, they send people to and have him learn from his lesson 7 years ago that he already learned from.
Yeah.
And, send him on the scheduled redemption tour, and then be able to say, hey, look, he's done all this. Can we bring him in now? So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. Hold on. It just, none of this really makes sense. It's like, if you're going to get rid of the guy, at least, know what you're doing, know who you're getting rid of. It just, my thing is that, and I think Gerard put it in the chat. Gerard, I just sent you a DM on Twitter, by the way. Said, how long does it get held over his head? As long as they think that he's going to cost people money, right? And I don't think WWE would have a problem bringing Trey Miguel in. And honestly, I thought that Trey was going to go over there because he was working some NXT house shows at one point. So I was like, okay, well, maybe whenever his deal's up, they'll try to do something with him, because they had the other two rascals, Zach and Dez, and it didn't really quite work out for them. Like Dez had like a decent run, but I think they saw what his ceiling was and decided that, hey, well, we don't think this guy's ever going to get past this level, so let's go ahead and move on now. And they probably saw the same thing in Zach, but I think Trey Miguel is a unique performer. He's really good. And probably of the four is probably the most like technically proficient, and I would say even like charismatic. Zach has a lot of charisma, but I think Trey has a ton of charisma too. And because he can really do some really fiery promos. Yeah. And whenever so this is the second time this has happened to him, by the way. He was supposed to sign with NXT at one point, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And Triple H had kind of a similar thing, talking about the grind, and said that basically that he just didn't want to like work hard, and so they ended up not bringing him in. So he returned to TNA and had a pretty good run without the other rascals. And then when Zach came in, he seemed like he was reinvigorated again. And so I just really feel for the guy. The guy apologized several times. He hasn't had any issues since then. At what point do you take your foot off the guy's neck? It just makes no sense to me. What kind of coward would do that to a guy, do that to a young man? And especially like this guy, like he's a really talented guy. He's a really good pro wrestler, and by all accounts is like a genuinely good dude. They're just, I don't know that he's a I don't think he's like a racist, a homophobic, or anything like that. I think he's just like, poor from Ohio and says stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're poor from Missouri. Like, we know these people,
Yeah.
right? They say some stupid shit, but then like, they'll help you fix your car,
Right.
and like once they get around some people that they never met before, it's like, oh, wait a minute, my ideology was backwards, and now I'm a different person,
Yeah, and when you continue to punish people after they've gotten better, you're just showing other people who may have had those similar thoughts or said those similar things like, "Hey, see, there's no reason for me to change because, you're going to continue to put me down no matter what. No matter what I do, you'll always see me this way," and it justifies their initial ignorant thoughts.
Yeah,
So when people get better and then you continue to punish them, you're justifying the initial ignorance.
Yeah, and the people that are like dogpiling Trey Miguel right now, you're worse than he is.
Yeah.
Like you're a worse person than Trey Miguel is for sure. Because Trey Miguel actually is actively trying to be a better person, turn his life around, and all you're trying to do is make someone worse, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to make someone's day worse, and he's not doing that to anybody.
Yeah. And I have seen some people online compare this to like Tessa Blanchard. And it's like, well, there's a major difference in that Trey Miguel apologized and was a good person after the fact.
Yeah.
Tessa Blanchard's never like apologized or took ownership over her being a bad person. She just continues to show up and get work.
Yeah.
Like that's the major difference to me.
She just disappeared for 5 years and came back and was hoping that nothing happened.
Yeah.
And now TNA won't trust her on the debut on AMC.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I think once people show that they've improved from their initial thoughts, you have to let them, you have to reward them for their change in behavior and their change in thought process. And I agree with the phenomenal ace in there, the timing of it as well. Like, could you not do your research before why wait until after he puts pen to paper?
Yeah, this is the company that had Andrade come in, and Andrade was not even like available, right?
Yeah.
So them doing their due diligence, I think we're asking a lot for a what is essentially AEW, a $1 billion company now. Like we're asking a lot.
It really sounds like they need somebody who's got experience in HR, who knows what they're doing. Like if you know anybody out there. Yeah.
Like maybe a retired master sergeant with a master's degree in human resources management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is actually manage people going to fucking war, right? Yeah. Maybe that guy
seems like would be a good fit to handle situations like these. Somebody who would do their research ahead of time, and present the pros and cons of each signing.
Well, before you talk to that guy, make sure he'd be willing to leave his house because he is
not moving to Jacksonville anytime soon.
What's that?
So you're not moving to Jacksonville anytime soon?
No, I'm not. I'm not moving anywhere anytime soon, man. And I told Carlos Silva and Tommy Dreamer the other day because they blew it and allowed all of their foreign visas to lapse all at the same time, and so a bunch of people couldn't make the shows. I said, guys, if you need someone that has like expertise in managing stuff like this, like I'm available. But I should have said, although I'm not willing to like leave my house. Like I will do that remotely. That's fine.
Yeah, that is a job that can be done from home, probably a lot through an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. There's people starting rumors about me. It says Mike will get a job in a wrestling company come 2027. No. Like
if a wrestling company was smart, wrestling company was smart, TNA, they would.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Yeah.
It would cost a lot of money, and I'm not willing to give up my job that I have right now because the schedule's amazing, the benefits are insane, the pay is fantastic. But I would do something on the side for a wrestling company if they wanted some oversight, management oversight type stuff. But no, I wouldn't take a big job.
Or just like corporate shilling if Saudi Arabia ever came calling.
If Saudi Arabia wanted to pay me money right now, I would do this would be like the Mike Gilbert Riyadh show.
Yeah.
And I would be all kinds of propaganda. I'm no longer in the military. I can do stuff like that. When I was in the military, I couldn't do it anymore. But now, free reign, I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We got the Gerard backstage. We're gonna bring Gerard in. I want to get his opinion on TNA Genesis, but I want to get both you guys' opinions on some free agency stuff. So we got some new free agents. Gerard, how's it going, man? Welcome to the show.
Good, man. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hey, so football sucked this weekend, right? We don't talk about football anymore. It's over.
Oh, bear down, man. We'll do it again
Yeah.
next year.
Hey, that Caleb fucking touchdown was insane, dude. I almost woke up everybody in the cabin when that happened.
One of the most ridiculous throws I've ever seen.
That
Great.
like
You know, in
that
hindsight, they should have just gone for two and left it all in the fourth quarter, one way or another.
Yeah, man. Hey, if that was a walk-off, that's the greatest like forward pass in history.
Maybe since like 1981.
Yeah, it's well. I would put this one above that because he had to like scramble backwards 20 yards and chuck it from the 50-yard line into the end zone.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, it was insane. All right, Gerard and Joe. I like that Joe's on here right now too because Joe actually has some insight into some of these people. So what I want to do is before we get to the genesis, and Gerard, I know I got you for a little bit. I do want to talk about some of the free agent signings that TNA has made in the last like week or two. So we'll go with the top. Probably the biggest name off the list is Nick Nemeth. He made it official. He's been with the company for 2 years, and there had been some talk that maybe he was going back to WWE like Matt Cardona did because he was part of that John Cena like tournament that they had. But he broke the news earlier this week on Busted Open that after having a handshake deal for 2 years, that he is going to be sticking around TNA. We don't have any idea how long the contract is, but TNA does short-term deals, so who knows? We might be having this conversation in a year. But what do you guys say? What do you think about Nick Nemeth? Gerard, I'll kick to you first.
I think it's a great signing because for me, he came before Matt Hardy did, and I think he was really the first one, especially when they flipped over to the TNA name change, that like made it okay for people to be like, oh man, this is something we can check out. And then on top of that, like even for his age and for how long he's been in the business, he's still got a really good work rate. Like he can go in the ring and out wrestle a lot of the younger guys that have been, that are coming up, and even they've been doing it for a little bit because he's just that crazy. But hopefully now, you and I have joked about it before in the chat, but like, hopefully now he's not going to take these outside bookings and they'll just continue to. Because here's the thing: is like, yeah, he takes the outside bookings, but he's still like always promoting TNA, always going on the media stuff, out in the media tours, and like TNA is still pretty much his primary. But there's those times where you're like, anytime you see like a storyline suspension, it's because Nick took an outside booking somewhere else. Hopefully, we don't see that too much anymore, but you never know.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? What do you think of Nick Nemeth in his future?
I 100% agree. I think he's a solid signing because you can put him anywhere on the card and he's going to deliver you good work. He can work with the young guys and make them better. He can work with older guys and make them still look good. He can main event a show, be in the mid card or open the show, whatever you need him to do. He's such a workhorse champion. And like you guys said, he promotes TNA, and TNA needs guys with real name value who are willing to do that. Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler is somebody, he wasn't a huge draw, but he was a mainstay in WWE for a long time. A lot of people are going to know his face when it shows up on their screen. And you need people like that who's willing to go back and go to bat for your company and say, hey, like, give this product a shot because we've got some good stuff to show you. And this past Saturday, man, they had some good stuff to show people. I think Nemeth is a great guy to keep around and just somebody of good value.
Yeah, he's a great guy for TNA, and above all else, he's just a really good fucking pro wrestler.
Yeah,
right. Like he's not Kenny Omega, he's not Will Ospreay, but he is like a really good 1990s, early 2000s style main event level pro wrestler, and he's perfect fit for TNA. So I completely agree.
He can make somebody look like a star when they wrestle him. Like you can put him in there and he's going to make that other guy look like he's a future champion.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up we got Daria Ray, the former Sonya Deville. Mm-hmm. She debuted as the SWAT.
Yeah, the Samoan SWAT team.
Yeah, she's part of the SWAT team now. Yeah. SUAT. That's the dumbest fucking thing. Like her T-shirt and her logo. It's supposed to be "Shut up, I'm talking," but it looks like an A. Is her body, but her legs, her feet are spread apart to where it's in the shape of an A, so it looks like it's SWAT.
Yeah,
what a dummy! But anyway, she's here, and she is taking on like a dual authority figure, like we've
He's the
had a million
heel,
times in pro
general
wrestling. The
manager.
last fucking thing we need is another authority figure in pro wrestling, but that's what she's doing. I will say she's doing a really good job, actually. I dig what she's doing, but she's on a 6-month deal here with TNA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. My thing with the general manager authority figure things is I'm not a huge fan of it. Looking at it as a business. Unless you're bringing other value to the show. Like Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis on Raw and SmackDown, they actually help write, they help produce, they help coach. They bring value to the show behind the scenes, and then they also get stuff on screen. Ava in NXT or Sonya Deville in TNA, I'm not sure what value to the show that they're bringing behind the scenes, and I'm not sure it justifies the cost of putting them on TV. We know why Ava has TV time in NXT. Everybody knows that.
Well, I think what Ava brings to the TV is that she's so bad that everybody else looks awesome as far as promos. Because she is the most bland promo I've ever seen in my life, and she should not be on television.
Yeah, but every now and then you might have The Rock show up on NXT, and it's happened once. So who knows if it might happen again, and that's not going to happen if she's not.
He's been on NXT the same amount of times he's been on TNA. Once.
Yeah, but he showed up in person in NXT.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Gerard, what do you think about Daria Ray signing a 6-month deal with TNA?
So I like this signing, and I think I was telling somebody the other day, I think she could potentially, if she sticks around for a little while, I could see her not just doing like the on-screen authority character. I can see her filling that like Gail Kim type role backstage with all the past WWE experience she has and all the different talent that she knows and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like she could really help improve your entire knockouts division.
How can she help improve? She wasn't a very good wrestler, and she was a fake MMA fighter. She didn't do that either. I don't know what she actually brings to the table. Like people tell me she's got these credentials, and I'm like, she was employed for a long time, but I don't know what she's actually good at.
Unless you're kind of banking on her just being able to communicate with other talent that like they might want to be bringing in, having her be able to bridge that gap. Like she does have a lot of friends in WWE. She knows a lot of women who are women's wrestlers who are either still in WWE or who have left and are on the indies. So she might have value there, being able to do that kind of communication.
That's one of the other things I was just going to get at, because I know when, like, right around the time Gail got released or whatever, somebody was like, yeah, Gail was somebody that, like, she's somebody that you could get to take your phone call if you called, but, like, a lot of other people wouldn't pick up that phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that makes more sense to me if she has that role.
I don't see that. Sonya Deville was a mediocre wrestler and did not wrestle for very long. Gail Kim was a legend.
Yeah.
So it's very fucking different. Sonya Deville was around for a little bit and then transitioned over to an on-screen authority figure for a little bit. And look, I'm not saying she's not a talented person, but let's pump the brakes on the Gail Kim comparisons. Yeah. I don't see that at all, and I don't think that she's a person that, like, if she calls you, you're immediately going to pick up the phone, because she just wasn't that famous.
Well, in terms of if she calls you, you're more talking about the relationships that she would already have.
Right, like, right. So if you're talking like, can we sign Mandy Rose now? I guess.
Well, no. It's not if Sonya Deville calls me or if Daria calls me, I'm immediately going to answer. It's if I need something and I can call her, she's immediately going to answer. Like she has those relationships with other young talent.
Skill set.
Just being able to communicate and having relationships with people.
Okay, but do we know that she has that? Is she trained in that? Does she have that skill set?
Not saying she does. I'm just saying that might be it.
So all we have is this mediocre pro wrestler that was never an MMA fighter, but pretended to be on television for a little bit, who is now in TNA, who I think is actually does a good job as the authority figure on TV. In fact, like, she's complaining about their incompetence on television. I'm like, okay, this is kind of like I kind of like her. She sounds like me a little bit. I respect her a lot. So
yeah, are you writing her character?
Let's pump the brakes on whether or not she has any HR or management skills. That has not been proven. All right, and look, Trey says, do not ever compare Sonya to Gail Kim. Yeah. Gail Kim was in her role because she was super famous and was a legendary wrestler at a time when women weren't allowed to wrestle, right? So that's how she was able to get people on the phone and get people into the company. But Sonya Deville doesn't have that history. All right.
No,
Next
I'm not trying to compare her wrestling wise, but just I think she could fill that backstage kind of role.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe she's great at it. Who knows? But Elena Black, former Cora Jade, who had left pro wrestling to join OnlyFans, is now back in pro wrestling. Signed a 1-year deal. Gerard, what do you think about Elena Black?
She looks great, but other than that, yeah.
She physically looks great.
Yeah, I don't think she can really go. That's about it.
Yeah, I would just say, like, I've seen times of her in NXT where she looked okay wrestling, but it was against people who were much, much better than her. Like, she looked okay against Roxanne Perez. She's still really young. I think maybe 24 or 25, still really young. She has some name value in terms, like, she has a big following for non-wrestling related reasons.
Yeah.
But she has a following. If she puts in the work, I think her plan is to use TNA to get back to WWE. But she's got to put in the work. They let her go because she wasn't getting to where they needed her to be.
She was there for a long time and never improved.
Yeah.
And we all know why they hired her, and they were hoping that she would turn into something.
Mm-hmm.
But if she wasn't such a bad wrestler, talk about how bad her promos are, but her promos are also bad too. So
yeah.
Like, she doesn't really have anything to offer other than she was this like OnlyFans model who used to be on WWE. So
yeah. I'm surprised she would take a pay cut to go work for TNA and not just do OnlyFans full time.
She can still do OnlyFans and work for TNA, so it's just something to supplement the income. And now that TNA has a higher profile, we'll see. We'll see if that helps out her subs, or maybe the subs were down, so she's like, okay, I'm gonna go do this for a little bit. But when she was in TNA before, she seemed like she would rather be doing anything else. So we'll see if she's changed at all. All right, I only got a couple more, and then we're going to kick to the Genesis review. The Righteous have signed a deal with TNA. So TNA had teased this, breaking news coming, and as it turns out, the breaking news was we've signed a contract with people that have been in the company for 2 months already.
Yeah.
Thank you, TNA, for breaking this big news.
Yeah, I had no idea that Rob Zombie and Brother Love were wrestling for TNA. I thought that was kind of awesome to see.
Yeah, I think Rob Zombie might be a little bit bigger than Vincent, but
yeah, nowadays.
Yeah.
No, those guys are awesome, and I'm really excited to see kind of where they go. We'll get more into this in the review later. I did hate the whole promo in the middle of the match thing.
Yeah,
like in the match. But I thought they have a great, unique look. They've got a good entrance, which is really important to a lot of wrestling fans. A small set of wrestling fans that can really help you get over. And I think they've got a really good one. I think those guys are going to go a long way in that company.
Yeah. Gerard, what you got on the Righteous?
Yeah, I agree completely. I think they're a really good signing for TNA. I just think it's funny because I know, Sean Rossap reported the other day that, TNA is kind of rolling out these signing announcements as they want to roll them out. Well, everybody kind of knew they were signed, but it's just weird to get it on not a random Saturday, but before Genesis. And I'm like, everybody pretty much figured that. But I guess that's good to know now because we don't always know what kind of deals these guys are on. So
yeah. Yep, I feel you. So what we don't know is that how long the Righteous are in, and we don't know how long Nick Nemeth is in, but we know that they're in. And we'll see what Steve Macklin's status is here pretty soon. We don't know if he's re-signing yet or not, or what the hell's going on with him. But we'll figure out something with Macklin. All right, let's go ahead and get to this Genesis review. But I do want to hit up the chat. Let's see. Dobby the Brain Heenan says she, meaning Sonya Deville, cut babyface promos to me by calling out Santino and shutting down the Busted Open guys. Yeah, that's why she shit on that idiot Dave LaGreca. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
So in fact, they should just get rid of Santino and just make her the full-time general manager because I think that she cuts a way better promo.
Why would you have two general managers for one show? That doesn't make sense.
Well, he's depressed, so they gave him an assistant, but now his assistant has more power than he does.
So it's like a Jim and Michael situation on The Office, where you've got co-general managers.
Yeah, I guess. Chad Schultz says, "Where's Bear Bronson?" I mean, I think he's signed, so we'll probably be in Albuquerque. We'll see. And then on 415, must be a Bay area code, says Jesse Funaki. Well, he was in, but I don't know that he's been signed. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on with him. But that's Funaki-san's son wrestled in TNA recently. He did a match.
Nice.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get to this Genesis review. Really quick, I'm going to recap the pre-show. Pre-shows don't count, but I'm going to say what happened. Channing Stacks Lorenzo defeated KJ Orso, who is the former Fuego del Sol, making his debut in a title match. Fucking jobber in a title match on the pre-show. All right, that's great. BDE, the YouTube kid, and then Eric Young, whom the cleanse is coming any day now, guys. He's gonna do the cleanse. It's gonna happen, I promise. But Channing Lorenzo defeated those guys. And then we had Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore defeated Vicious Vicky and Indy Hartwell. Hey, Gerard, man, do you got some noise in the background there, buddy? All right, I got to mute Gerard's mic because there's some stuff going on in the background there. So Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore defeated Vicious Vicky and Indy Hartwell. So there you go. All right, let's go and get to the main show. The first match, Joe, I'm thinking was match of the night for me. AJ Francis versus Rich Swann. I loved this match so freaking much. I thought it was fantastic. It was a great opening X Division style match. I think Rich Swann is better than he's ever looked in his life. The guy's in incredible shape. And AJ Francis is one of the most underrated pro wrestlers like in the world right now. The guy is just killing it. So let me get just a quick recap here. So Francis caught Swann during a dive and hit a released FLA driver. Swann rallied with a 450 splash, an impressive Canadian destroyer. So for AJ Francis was trying to hit the power bomb, and Swann turned it into a Canadian destroyer. But AJ Francis ended up getting the victory, man. I really enjoyed this match. What do you think?
Dude, I thought that match ruled. I actually just watched it today. I kind of split up my watching of the show. And all day yesterday, I was reading stuff of people shitting on AJ Francis and saying how bad he looked. And I was like very hesitant going into that match. Dude, that match freaking ruled. And people need to put some respect on AJ Francis's name. I thought him doing the Styles Clash was awesome. Got him some good heel heat. He's such a good heel for TNA. He really is. Him and Rich Swann did a perfect David versus Goliath match. Swann being really quick, doing a lot of quick moves, and then Francis just beating him with the power. I thought that Canadian Destroyer spot was probably the spot of the night for me.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried because Francis, the way he kind of landed, he didn't get enough rotation. I was kind of worried.
I got to jump off on you for a little bit.
All right, brother.
Yeah. I was kind of worried about his rotation. And maybe like he would have landed on his neck, but he looked good. Didn't show anything that he would have landed wrong. I just thought that match was absolutely awesome from both guys.
Yeah, if you're like a born hater, and you don't like anything that WWE or TNA does, I'm telling you right now that if this match were on Dynamite, you guys would be fucking like.
They would, yes.
It's that good, I think. Now the thing about the people don't like about AJ Francis is that he tries to get like old school type of heat, right? But the guy can actually go a little bit. He is a way better wrestler than anybody's ever given this guy credit for.
He is so much better now than at any point in his WWE career. So much better now.
Well, and
he has improved a ton.
Well, and it's because he's been wrestling with better guys, right?
Yeah.
He was just NXT with people kind of out of wrestling school. But in TNA, like he's done main events with Nick Nemeth. He's done big time matches with Leon Slater and all these guys. He's done a lot of big matches for them.
Yeah, he was also on SmackDown for a while. They just rarely used him in real matches. They rarely let him do stuff. Once he's actually started to get reps in, and like you said, against better people, you're going to get better. If you have any athleticism in you at all and you're willing to work and learn, you're going to get better. He was a guy who was like in NFL training camps. He has athleticism to him. He understands the work ethic side of it. He's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, he has. And I think it's time that people actually gave AJ Francis his credit.
Yeah.
He's never going to get it because he doesn't endear himself to people, but he's a bit of a dick on social media, and that's
And
always
I
going to
love
haunt
it.
him. But
And I love it because I know what he's doing, and it's great.
yeah. Yeah, although he did say one time that I've never had sex before, and I read the tweet, and I was sitting next to my pregnant wife and my daughter who looks just like me. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I've done that, like at
Could have
least
been
twice.
IVF. Could have been IVF.
Could have been, but those kids look just like me. A two-time champion in that realm. So, all right, Mustafa Ali defeated Elijah. This was your House of Torture style match. Mustafa Ali does these all the time. But when he does them, because he works so hard in the match and he does all of the like these crazy moves and takes these sick bumps all the time, like I don't get mad at the interference when it's Mustafa Ali like I do with normal people. I think that it actually works for him. And Brian Alvarez didn't like this match. I liked this match.
Yeah.
This match was pretty good. I think Elijah is getting better from what I've seen, and I hope that he continues to improve. But this was, not the greatest match because there was a ton of interference. And it was short. I think that giving these guys a little bit of time could help them, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, Ali will always have a special place in my heart because I watched 205 Live every week when it was.
You were the one.
I was like one of maybe 7 people. There were a group of us. We had like small meetings every Friday night. Not very many, but the show was great when Triple H took it back over and they just said, "Fuck it, let's go out there and have killer matches every week." It was Ali, Buddy at the time, Buddy Murphy, and Cedric Alexander, and they would just go have killer matches every week. So Ali will always have a special place in my heart because he killed it on that show. He was phenomenal here. I thought the way the guitar shattered when he swung the shit out of that. I thought it was not excellent, but it was a good match. It was a fun match to watch. Most important thing, the crowd there live enjoyed it.
Yes, like it got over. And the thing is that Ali's a really good heel, and Elijah is a good baby face.
Yeah,
right? He didn't have to do a whole lot. He gets a lot of sympathy. So I think the dynamic worked.
I really hope. Just speaking on Elijah, I would really like, depending on what TNA's taping schedule is, and only he knows if he could pull this off, I would really like to see him shave his beard, show up in the Rumble as Ezekiel, and then grow his beard back out and be on a TNA taping. Like do some pre-tape stuff where it can look like he had the beard the whole time. And it's just like he's the third brother. Like, he's got Elijah, Ezekiel, and Elias.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. He randomly showed up at John Cena's last match in the crowd.
Yeah.
And like John Cena even commented like, "How did Elias get here?" What? I don't understand like the connection between them. Like Elias doesn't work for them anymore.
Yeah.
He's WWE adjacent by being in TNA.
Yeah.
But I just weird to me that he was there. Like maybe he's just like secret friends with Cena.
I think that's really possible because Cena does seem to have like this small group of people that you never would have thought he's like really close friends with.
Yeah.
Like him and Claudio Castagnoli have a group chat going about coffee all the time.
Yeah.
Where they just go to random coffee places around the world and then talk about it. So I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Elias, Elijah, Ezekiel are all friends with him.
Right. Well, Cena's really big into music, and so is Elijah.
Yeah.
So maybe that makes sense. And Elijah's jacked, right?
Yeah.
So Cena likes to hang out with people that are jacked.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But no, I thought this match was good. I heard Meltzer one time say on Wrestling Observer Radio that you're performing the match for the crowd that you're in front of.
Yeah.
The crowd that they were in front of really loved it.
Yeah, they ate it up for sure. All right, now we go to Eddie Edwards defeating Johnny Dango Curtis in Johnny Dango Curtis's retirement match. I thought this match was good. I didn't think it was great. A lot of people say, "Hey, you're really gonna love this match. It was great." Sometimes when you do that, you build it up to me too much, and then now I'm going into it with this preconceived notion. So now it's got these expectations. It didn't hit those expectations for me. That doesn't mean I thought it was a bad match. It wasn't a bad match either. I thought it was pretty good. I like to see this guy get his flowers. He's a hardworking guy. He's been around a long time. Mm-hmm. I am a little salty that he got a better retirement send-off than Sami Callihan did. And Sami Callihan's the former world champion here.
Yeah.
And headlined several pay-per-views in an era where this company was almost dead, right? He kind of was almost like the beating heart of the company for a little bit. And now he works backstage as a producer. and he just kind of went out on he went out against Mike Santana, but he did not get the send off that JDC got, and it's because JDC is a former WWE guy. But I thought the going away was really well done.
Yeah, I think Dirty Dango, JDC, Johnny Curtis, he means a lot to a lot of wrestlers. I think he means more to a group of wrestlers than he'll ever mean to fans.
Yeah.
Just kind of the way he handles and helps people backstage. I heard Tyler Breeze tell a story about him one time that when he first got to NXT, Breeze, he said he was, really nervous. There was some guys there that you knew were going to be big stars and a lot of really green people. They all went out to a bar one night. Johnny Curtis showed up, didn't talk to anybody, put his card down on the bar and walked out and just paid for everybody's drinks. And he's like, that really, meant a lot to a bunch of young people to have this veteran who was a pretty good indie star. He had worked for 13, 14 years on the indies before ever getting to NXT. So he had some name value with guys who were wrestling fans going to NXT. I've always been a really big fan of his. I really loved him as Fandango and WWE. I thought him and Tyler Breeze were a really fun tag team. He was kind of the first big viral moment of WWE in the social media era.
Yeah.
Coming out of that WrestleMania match with Jericho. Like, that's something that went all across the world and in sports everywhere.
It was that fucking dance. And then
it was the night after WrestleMania. They weren't really dancing to the beat or anything. It was kind of nothing about him.
They don't do that.
Yeah, it was kind of nothing about him, but it involved him and his music, and it just kind of took off for several weeks.
Yeah.
I thought WWE really dropped the ball on not doing something more with him at the time. I thought he could have been a really good mid-carder, but, Curtis Axel had to have the Intercontinental title for some reason. Still a little salty over that.
He was a flash in the pan, and for a little bit, and he was one of those guys who went WrestleMania night after WrestleMania viral. So did Nick Nemeth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nick Nemeth got really big at night after WrestleMania. Fandango did, but then the following year it was Daniel Bryan, right, with the Yes thing. Like, that started to go crazy. Like right around that same time.
Yeah, both of those, and it just really took off. I thought there was a time in TNA, I thought Dango kind of started to do some promos where I was like, all right, maybe he's going to be a little bit more serious and kind of elevate himself, because I think he has the talent in ring to be a main event worker. I think he just never really pushed himself to get there.
No.
There are some guys, I think, once they start doing the comedy stuff and still get paid to do it, they just get kind of comfortable. And I wonder if he kind of got into that spot where he's like, I don't have to go out and kill myself. I get a pretty good paycheck. I get to have fun. Like, I'm comfortable doing this, but I do think he could have go. I really like the match with him and Eddie Edwards. There were some things in there. Dango immediately going for the pin when Eddie turned his back on him, I thought was a really nice touch of like, hey, I'm going to try to win this fucking match. Like, you're still going against me. There was times where Eddie threw him in the corner and didn't go for a chop or didn't go for a punch, and then Dango threw him in the corner and went in on him. He's like, hey, I'm here to win this match. And then they really started to pick things up. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a pretty good match for sure.
Yeah.
But then he's retired now, and so this coming up Thursday, they're going to replace him in the system.
Yeah.
And I got a few candidates, obviously, and chat. Let me know who you think. Let's see. Chad Schultz says Eddie's great. I just wish he was in better shape. Well, he is in shape. Round is a shape.
Hey, Kevin Owens is not in great shape, and he main evented WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, the thing about Eddie Edwards is he used to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
And now he's about the size of Kevin Owens. And honestly, like, they took a break from like November to from October to December. And in between that time, that brother was eating, man. Like, it was like he is enjoying himself for sure. He is not on keto like me right now.
Yeah. He can still go though. Like, as long as it doesn't start to affect negatively what he does in the ring, like he looks okay. He's not a 90s WWF muscle guy, but he can still go. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Schultz says Matt Taven for the system. Yeah, so that's my top pick for the system to as a replacement. Matt Taven makes all the sense in the world. He's a Northeast guy. He was in Honor No More with Eddie Edwards before, so there is that connection. It makes total sense to me. There's also EC3, who is like on social media every day begging for a job with TNA. Like, it is getting to be quite sad now. He definitely wants a job with TNA. And then, of course, there's Bear Bronson, who is a Brian Myers trainee. They just brought him in. I think I like Bear Bronson in the group, but he doesn't. He would have to overhaul the look, I would say, because the system kind of have a look like we like to go out and like dress nice and like all that
The
stuff.
suits and fancy sunglasses.
Yeah, and then they wear like these, and then like when they're at the building, they wear like matching tracksuits, and like they come across as a team. They're trying to recreate some of the Four Horsemen stuff, but do it in their own way.
Yeah.
I sure the Bear fits that mold, but I guess he could fit that mold. But when I saw him wrestling, he was wearing a singlet that was tucked into his boots, and I was like, this brother needs to overhaul the uniform.
Yeah, I think he would be good, but I do think Matt Taven makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want EC3 on my show in the year 2026.
Yeah, he's pretty cooked. But I can just see TNA wanting him back because he was a decent level star for them a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's who they're like marketing towards.
Yeah. They he was in WWE for a bit. He was okay in NXT. And then got called up to the main roster, and they hated him so much, they never let the guy who was only good at cutting promos cut a promo.
Yeah.
That's how much he was hated backstage by the powers that be. And then I don't think he's done a single thing of note since then, aside from maybe scamming people with, what was it, the Control Your Narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. All right, next up, we got Ryan Nemeth defeating Mara Shade. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. So
okay, me either.
Okay.
Me either. Yeah.
Heard it was bad. Heard it was real bad. I'm sure that it was. So someone in the Voices of Wrestling Discord like tagged me. It was like, because everybody's saying how bad it was. I go, Mike, was this match really that bad? I was like, I'm not gonna watch that match.
it brings no value.
It's Ryan Nemeth in a comedy intergender match. They're basically saying, Mike, don't worry about this one. You can take the 5 minutes off. I'm like, thank you guys. Thank you for letting me know this is on the pay-per-view in advance. I can go to the bathroom. No big deal.
Yeah, it was, we had an emotional, good match, and then we need something to kind of just like chill the fans for a little bit before we go to a title match.
Yeah.
Like, go get your popcorn, go to the bathroom. You've been in here for a while. You can skip this and then come back for the title match.
Yeah. All right, Lei Ying Lee defeated Zarya. So Zarya is from NXT, and she replaced Dani Luna because Dani Luna is stuck in the UK because of her visa situation. So she used her power to dominate early, locking in a prism lock. The match featured a ref bump after Zarya hit her. What the hell? Sol Ruka and Xia Brookside interfered to fight off Heather and M by Alley against Brand. And then the closing moments, Lee hit a high spin kick followed by the Warriors' way to retain her title. After the match, when Elena Black came out and made the "I want the title" thing around her waist, she did the discount double check that Aaron Rodgers used to do. So
BJ Raji, I think, also used to do that. No, I thought this match was really good. I've not watched a lot of Lei Ying Lee in TNA. I was not a fan of her as Xia Li in WWE.
Was she the 1,000-year-old woman in WWE? Was that her?
No. That's somebody else, and she actually still wrestles in Evolve. I'm just drawing.
That's Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu is 1,000-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know who had the gimmick because I know Wendy Chu had the Sleep Demon.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that she was also the 1,000-year-old woman. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually how she made her debut in WWE.
Gotcha.
But Xia Li, I can't for the life of me remember who it was, but not long after getting called up to the main roster, she did like a spinning kick and just blasted somebody in the head and knocked him out for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then she kind of never got a chance to. Yeah. Then she just kind of never got a chance to wrestle again.
Yeah.
And then was released not long after that. She is, just from what I've seen from the show Saturday, she has improved so much. Yeah. Her striking looks legit because it kind of is. Like I've seen her knock people out before. But she looked really safe, looked really good. I thought the match had a lot of intensity.
Right. So she's a Terry Funk disciple. The secret to her strikes is that she just really hits you.
Yeah.
So that's
how
it looks so good.
Yeah. No, I didn't like the ref bump. And I know they kind of do this whole thing, like, got to protect the NXT person. But then they just kind of like did like 5 to 10 more minutes after that and did a clean finish. So like, I don't really understand that. Like it felt like a 90s, we're going to protect our person finish, like right in the middle of the match. And then everybody brawls, and then you get all the spectators from out of ringside and then do a clean match the rest of the way.
Right. So Zarya and Sol Ruca were actually there originally. I think they're either going to wrestle the Knockouts tag titles or
there's
on
a
that
match,
show, or they're going to do it in Albuquerque, or they're going to do it in NXT. I don't know, but that's why they were there, and they were like, well, they needed a replacement, so they stuck Zarya in the match.
Well, there's a match on NXT tomorrow night of like a triple threat, and then the winner of that triple threat is supposed to go on to face the Knockouts Women's Champions. So they're doing that triple threat tomorrow. But I thought the match was good. It's actually, I would say, the best match Zarya's had since she signed with WWE.
This is the first time I've ever seen her. So I did, like, when she came out on TNA on AMC, the awful night that we should probably stop talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought they signed like somebody from the Indies. I was like, oh, this is great. And then like Sol Ruca's right behind her, and I was like, oh, what the hell is she doing there? And they go, oh, this is NXT Superstar. I was like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, Zarya has been there. She was she's from Australia. She wrestled as Delta in Australia and signed with WWE, I believe, in February of 2025. So she's, like a powerhouse gimmick. They've kind of toned her down quite a bit in NXT. She is still pretty green, and have paired her with Sol Ruca. Her and Sol Ruca are very similar people outside of wrestling. They go surfing a lot and, kind of hang out at the beach a lot. So they've just kind of been a natural friendship that's transitioned more on screen. But yeah, they've toned Zarya down quite a bit. I thought they really kind of let her loose a little bit in TNA, and I thought it was a really good showing for both of them.
Yeah. Next up, Hardy Boys defeat the Righteous. I thought this match was pretty good, except for, like you were talking about earlier, the mid-match promo where the Righteous are saying, "Oh, we wanted this. Like, this is exactly what we wanted out of you guys. We wanted this." And then all of a sudden, they just quit wrestling, and then the Hardy Boys was weird.
Yeah, like they did the finish, and Brother Love was on the outside watching his tag team partner get pinned, and did not try to help break it up at all or anything.
Yeah, he's like, our job is done here. We're about to lose.
Yeah, there's not been a single time in wrestling history, and like my earliest memories of watching wrestling is like 1998, 99-ish. Not been a single time where somebody's cut a promo mid-match with a microphone where I was like, yep, that added value to the match.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally never happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hardy Boys won. And then next up, gotta say I was shocked at this. Joe Hendry was in a good match. Joe Hendry defeated Cedric Alexander and Moose in 15 minutes. I really enjoyed the match. Hendry was there because Leon Slater got pulled for SmackDown in the UK. They're going to tell you that it was because of the visa issue, which also is true, which also is happening at the same time. I just think that it's awfully convenient that Leon – it was stopped advertised like 2 weeks ago. They stopped advertising Leon for Impact. And then all of a sudden, then the visa issue happens because they were advertising him for Genesis. They're advertising Danny Luna. I think that visa issue came about like within the last couple of days before, and then the Leon thing that was already set. Like I think that's a real possibility. But the official story going around is that he was on SmackDown because he was in the UK.
Yeah. Gotcha. Convenient. Nice tinfoil hat there. I believe you to be true as well. Like I do think that's what happened, and they're just like, hey, this just happened to work out perfectly, where we can tell people like, hey, he couldn't be there, and WWE really stepped up for us, and like they gave us some guys like good WWE. Some really good PR work there.
Well, you know what the thing is like when the story was out that he was pulled and WWE sent AJ as a make good, I was like, okay, that's perfect. It was like that actually makes sense. But now he gets pulled for Impact. But he can't make Genesis because also his visa is expired. So, but I was fine with like the trade. Like, hey, we'll give you AJ for a night if you'll let us have Leon. Let him wrestle like Carmelo Hayes. Like, okay, they're just gonna go tear it down in the UK. That'll be a bigger star when he gets back now. And they did tear it down. So.
Yeah, no, that match freaking ruled. Like you can tell what everybody sees in Leon in that match.
Yeah. All right, so Joe Hendry defeated Cedric Alexander and Moose. Moose was working a back injury. He worked it so good that I got a DM like, "Hey man, is Moose okay?"
they they killed the crowd with that.
They did. They got him back when Moose came back in the ring.
They got him back, but like Joe Hendry and Cedric Alexander were working in the ring to damn near silence when everybody was just focused and worried about Moose.
Yeah. I think Moose, they did a great job. And it typically like that stuff to me doesn't add to the match, but I think Moose did it so well and the crowd bid on it so well that when he came back into the ring, it got such a huge ovation that I was like, Moose is like the biggest fucking moron in the world, right? Like one of the dumbest human beings, but he is goddamn talented professional wrestler. Like he is really good. If I had to give him advice, which he'll never take because I'm just a fan, say quit slapping your ass so blatantly when people are hitting you. Like we can see you, brother. Like don't do that. But everything else, like the guy's got. But he sold his ass off. He sold it so well that I got a DM from a guy that's like in the know on professional wrestling, worried about Moose. I was like, no, he's fine. If a wrestler gets injured, they're going to send doctors. They're not going to send Carlos Silva to go out there and help him. So
what gave it away for me was the commentator. Is it Tom Hannafin? Is that
Facefuck Phillips? Yeah.
Him, when he brought up, it was exactly like what happened to him on NXT. Because they did that spot where he took the back body drop to the steel steps on NXT, but like he shook it off really quick. Like when you're bringing up a similar spot from like just a week ago, that tells me it's a work. But that crowd bought every single bit of it.
They sure did.
Yeah, and they did get him back, which is important. And the TNA crowd still loves Joe Hendry. I know a lot of people were kind of upset that Hendry won. They would have preferred a TNA guy getting the win there.
That's my only criticism of the match. Hendry did not need the victory.
Yeah.
Moose could have pinned Cedric, and it would have been just fine.
Yeah, or Cedric could have pinned. Like either way, like you could have a TNA guy pin a TNA guy, and everybody would have been fine. But Hendry is still like such a TNA guy. He was so important to them kind of just getting back a little bit on the rise and regaining fans that the fans were still like the fans there in the arena still popped for the finish and him getting the victory.
Yeah. It's like more of a mild criticism, right? It was like Joe Hendry didn't need to win that match. In fact, they beat him like to death when he was actually a signed TNA wrestler. And now he comes back as a WWE guy and they have to put him over. I was like, okay, come on. Like there's no reason that Joe Hendry needs to win this match, but it was a feel-good moment. Like, look, at the end of the day, it got over, and that's really what counts. So the problem is he's not going to be in Albuquerque on Thursday, and Albuquerque is at like 920 tickets. So less than half.
I do think he'll be back in TNA at some point this year, though.
He'll probably be around every now and then. That's probably part of the deal for letting him out of his contract early.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's what they're banking on, putting him over here is like, we have him continue to look strong for when we need to bring him back.
Well, they should have thought of that before they beat him like a drum for 4 months before he went to the WWE, but I digress.
Well, at that point, they're like, hey, we know we're losing him, so like, let's beat him all the time because we know he's out the door. Yeah, that's the WWE line of thinking. When you know a guy's leaving, just beat him.
Mm-hmm. All right, in the main event, really good main event, Mike Santana defeated Frankie Kazarian in a Texas Death Match. They had all kinds of moves. They did they had barbed wire, they had tables, they had ladders. They went all over the arena. I like the fact in TNA that you don't have to shoot somebody in order to pin them. Right? Like these guys got pinned and then they beat the 10 count. And then Mike Santana, hits the frog splash off the ladder through the table. Frankie kicks out, and then he hits him with a spin the block, and then another spin the block. He hits him with a barbed wire baseball bat, and then a barbed wire spin the block, and then he got him down for the 10 count. I thought the match was fantastic. I loved it.
Dude, I am becoming such a big Mike Santana fan. If I were TNA, I would look into the logistics of doing a show in Puerto Rico. Like, see if you can find an arena that you can work with. WWE is going to be over there, I think, in May. Like I would seriously look into it. I kind of wonder if they'll, maybe put Santana on that show. I'd probably not because it's going to be a pay-per-view. I don't know if they're going to do like a SmackDown or anything from there.
So Santana already like commented on that, so I could see that happening actually. Like putting him on the undercard in a tag match or something, like for sure.
Yeah, because like those Puerto Rican fans, they are dying for big time wrestling. But I mean, look when WWE went there for Backlash a couple of years ago. That's one of just the loudest shows that I've ever watched. They are knowledgeable wrestling fans. Like Puerto Rican wrestling has deep wrestling history, And Mike Santana is a freaking star. And
Yeah.
he would come off like such a huge star there. They would go to bat for their guy. I would absolutely look into that. Partner with Carlito's Family Promotion in Puerto Rico. Yeah, that could be a little risky. The Colognes are, a lot of history there in the 80s, but I would absolutely look into that. Santana is just such a great champion for TNA right now.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we went past the hour. I thank everybody for being here. Head over to patreon.com/Mike and JD Show. I'll be doing some more stuff this week. Last week I did so many streams. It was incredible. I really worked overtime last week.
Real quick, Mike, did you see the news about AJ Styles from Raw today?
Yeah, so they're doing his if he loses to Gunther at Royal Rumble, he's out. I don't think he's losing to Gunther. I don't think he's going out already.
Yeah, I don't think he's going out on Royal Rumble. I did just want to bring that up because two guys did the Styles Clash on Genesis, because I believe Cedric was also the other one to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think Styles is going to lose at Rumble, but I just found it interesting nonetheless. It was like a 10-year to his debut.
Yeah.
Because he debuted at the Rumble in 2016. So they're kind of really building that up. But, who knows? Like, that could be Styles' last match. We might not get him in TNA again. So
it's not going to be his last match. I think he's going to win. And I do think that we're going to get him in TNA. We're going to get him in a match. People think this is going to be Mike Santana versus AJ. I think they could do that match. The problem is AJ has to win.
Yeah.
Now I think AJ would be okay with losing, but I don't think the WWE would be okay with sending AJ to lose, right?
Yeah. It all depends on when it would happen and what plans they have for him at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think we're more likely to get AJ versus Frankie Kazarian because AJ can just win that match.
Right.
Like AJ beating Frankie is no big deal. It would be a really good match, and it would be a match that both guys would love to have. And that's an easy sell. Like, hey, can we have AJ? He's just going to beat Frankie. But it would mean the world to TNA fans to have AJ back for a night. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, you should put him in there with a young guy. It's like you want to be able to get him in the door, right, and get him in the ring. And so you got to really sell it to him. So having him wrestle one of his best friends, I think that's the way you do it. I'm just looking at it realistically and logistically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the move. And Kaz can lose like relatively easily. Like, it's not a big deal for Kaz.
Yeah, I think they built it up well because AJ specifically told people like, hey, my contract is ending in February and I'm going to go work behind the scenes after that. So I do think they got an extension done for him to at least go through Mania. But I think they very, very smartly have built it up to make people believe that he's going to lose to Gunther at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that up real quick because it's kind of noteworthy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man, that's going to do it for us this time. And until next time, mahalo.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. Made no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A game. Made no rain from
Hi, I'm Andrew Rich. And if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.